That's what we use, right? OBS?
OBS operating bullshit system. We may be live.
Are we live?
It's possible.
Are we live? Are we live? Are we live? Let us know if we're live because we got to talk about Giants training camp day 3. And we will get into all of it. And I think we are live. Are people saying we're live? Because I don't know if we're live because we got to talk about Giants training camp day 3. Some viral clips went out of this practice because we are like, all right, well, if everyone else is going to record 11 on 11, we're going to do it too.
Also, something too important to note that this camp live stream is brought to you by Captain Morgan.
It is brought to you by Captain Morgan. If you can't tell, this is Captain Morgan, that's Captain Morgan, and that is
Today's
Captain Morgan.
practice made me want to smash this over my head, but why would I do that since I want to drink it?
Yeah, so we're going to start with, we always start with the offense, but I want to start with Daniel Jones today and just offensive overall. Today he was 15 of 22. We look at those numbers like, okay, not bad. He had an interception. What's that noise, Justin?
Oh.
What in the world was that noise? 15 to 22, 1 interception, right? So this was the first day where they didn't do red zone, right? They started at, the opposite 40 and worked in, or opposite 30 and worked in, like treated it like a real drive, starting on first down. If you don't get a first down, then you're off the field. The next team, the second team or third team comes on the field. What is worrisome about it is this offense is asking for explosive plays, right?
Which they have been the last couple years too.
On 22 attempts, Daniel Jones threw the ball 20-plus yards 6 times, right? Which is 27%, right? That would be most in the league by a mile, right? And obviously this doesn't translate consistently. But you're like, okay, that's awesome that he's throwing them. The issue is that guys are open, and he just flat out missed today, right? And some are just like, hey, there's going to be misses. But there is some worrisome stuff. The first one was Deonte Banks covering Malik Neighbors really well. It would have been an incompletion anyways, but it hit Deonte Banks' back, and if Banks turns his head, it's, could have been an interception. And the second one to me was the most frustrating because it's this nice play. They roll DJ out to the right. They're trying to get the whole defense moving one way, and they have Neighbors bend in, and he's got Flott beat clean, and he just puts too much air into it, allows Flott to get back into the play and rip at the arm of Malik Neighbors when he's going to make the catch. And if you just put some zip on that ball, that's an easy touchdown there, right?
Yeah, I want to highlight that play for a second because, again, you have Jones rolling to his right, probably off of play action, but you have Jones rolling to his right. He's not on the run. He's not throwing on the run.
No.
Plants his foot in the ground, and you have to drive it going left to the other side of the field. And I'll tell you what, Bobby, I haven't seen Daniel Jones rarely ever attempt that kind of throw in his career where he's flowing to one side and then you throw it to the opposite side. You do see the best quarterbacks in the NFL attempt that throw, and you see the best quarterbacks in the NFL, they have the arm strength to drive it in there. My opinion is I don't think Daniel Jones has the arm to drive that ball to Malik Neighbors. Now, here's the thing. There's screenshots going around that, Malik Neighbors should have maybe also caught that ball, but it doesn't change the fact that Daniel Jones could have driven that. He did not drive that ball, put it in front of him to make it an easier catch. Both things can be true there.
I mean, sure, Malik Neighbors could have caught it, but the reason why he didn't catch it is because he had to stop.
Yeah, slow down.
And allowed Cordell Flott to get in there and rip at his arm.
Yeah, it was a bad throw. It was
just a flat-out bad throw, and what should have been this sick highlight touchdown. The other one is this Wandale, throw where it's just like there's no one within 15 yards, and that's the flip side. It's like, how is the defense letting guys get this open?
Yeah, we'll talk. That's the other side of it. Yeah.
No one within 15 yards, and he just sails it, right? 10 yards over him. There was another one where there must have been some type of mistake on this play because Isaiah McKenzie's going up the sideline, and then Hyatt's on this, this bend.
I thought the ball was going to go to Hyatt, but then McKenzie goes up and catches it.
No, it was the opposite way. It was the opposite way. It looked like it was supposed to go to McKenzie. Maybe it was, and it was just underthrown, and Hyatt coming across the field, tries to reach up, and it hits his fingertips. That one, I don't know what's going on that one. That wasn't what – if that was intended for Hyatt, it's not an awful throw, but it wasn't a good one. And then he, missed Daniel Bellinger, which was a nice read between two guys, and it just goes over his head, and then finally hit Malik Neighbors for 40, 50 yards on the right sideline.
But I'll tell you about that throw. He had the big touchdown to Malik Neighbors. That's a big explosive play, right? we know Daniel Jones can throw a vertical route on the sideline down the field. A lot of quarterbacks in the NFL can. And we know Daniel Jones can do that specifically well. It's middle of the field that I have a lot of questions about. And can you drive the ball in the intermediate part of the field? That Daniel Bellinger throw, that was kind of like a sideline, little bit of a whole shot type of play. Didn't nail it. We talked about the Neighbors play. Wandale Robinson, that was just a miss. That's a throw that DJ needs to make. But
that's the one that will go the most viral, but that's the one that's the least worrisome.
Right, that I'm least concerned about Daniel Jones not repeating that. And I am confident that if Malik Neighbors is in press coverage, hey, it was a cool, I think Art Stapleton put this out. This was a cool little nugget of, Malik Neighbors, he was in press coverage. Daniel Jones was basically before the play being like, well, if we're in press, are you sure you want me to throw the ball? Malik Neighbors is like, throw the damn ball. And he did. He got open, and it's touchdown. I'm not like, oh, wow, this offense is going to be explosive. No, like that's just a go-around on the sideline. It's the other stuff that this offense needs to integrate. Like, that's an awesome play design. That's a play that I think it could be like a Brian Dable thing and a Brian Dable staple if we're able to run it. But I don't think if Daniel Jones can't drive that ball, then they're not going to go back to it.
And well, here's the thing: at least for camp, they do need to go back to it. They need to really work this stuff, right? And they, Daniel Jones and Malik Neighbors worked on that throw. They only threw it once after practice, but they did like, all right, let's run that again on air, obviously.
And it was still a little behind Neighbors.
So but they need to, right? Because you can't go into this year expecting it to like, all right, we're going to go quick game. Like quick game's going to be a big part of it, obviously, right? We're not going to go total. We're not going to pretend we have Josh Allen at quarterback.
Yeah, but let's not be 32nd in explosive pass plays.
They need to work on it. Like just like not pressure when they're in the quarterback meeting rooms. Pull the trigger on this. Like, no, what did you see? No, pull the trigger on it because they need to become an explosive offense to survive this year.
All right, here's the opposite side of it because Jones not a good practice, and even the first 2 days, we've talked about how Jones has missed some guys, but it's all for like dump offs and weird stuff that I'm not confident that he's going to continue that bad stuff. I think he will eventually get better. So the other side of this is, like you said, they are running it. They are practicing it. I hope they continue to keep their foot on the gas because I don't think the answer this year is to just not do it. Like camp, they need to try to do it in regular season.
I don't care if it's this bad every single day. Keep on doing it
because that's the only way that this Giants offense is if they are going to take a step forward this year. It's really the only way that they're going to try and take these steps forward is if they become more explosive and if they can give the defense something else to consider other than a go route by Hyatt, a go route by Slayton, or, Neighbors is going to work all three levels of the field no matter what. But specifically, that 10 to 19 yard range, talked about it all the time on this show about how they were last in the NFL in those 10 to 19 yard plays. That's the stuff that's a little bit more longer developing. If you have the better offensive line, which huge part of today was Jermaine Elamunar was back at right tackle, going in and out with Josh Azuda with the first team. But the main takeaway with the offensive line is that he is back, and as long as he does, and he has an off day tomorrow, which is great. So I expect him to maybe be fully back, which is awesome. So if the offensive line is going to give you a little bit more time, working some more of those plays, 10 to 19 yard routes and 10 to 19 yard plays, that's what this offense needs desperately, and hopefully they get better at it. I kind of have hope that they will get better at it.
Yeah, they again, like you said, push the limits. They need to push the limits in this camp and continue, right? And a talking point we had this offseason is this offense going to be molded in the vision of what Brian Dable wants, or are they going to mold it around Daniel Jones' strengths? And I don't think I think at this point where Daniel Jones is most likely going to be here for 1 year, where you have these receivers who are explosive, mold this around Brian Dable's vision and the wide receivers. Push the limits, like not taking no for an answer on these throws, right? If there's stuff there when they're watching film on this, get on him. Like push the limits of this offense, especially when you're in camp. And this isn't like Wink Martindale 2022 when they were just getting the piss blitzed out of them, even though the defense did blitz a good amount today. So just keep on doing that, and try and build off of this because the standard has to be higher for the Giants offense.
Yeah, and I mean, I usually don't like to read comments until we take questions, but I'm trying to figure out how Justin frames this as a bad practice when DJ was 15 for 22, LOL. I mean, what are you not hearing what I'm saying? The throws he's missing, wide open guys. He's not driving the ball to Malik Neighbors, and he's not making throws that we should expect an NFL quarterback to make. This is his third practice back from a torn ACL, right? Third practice back from a torn ACL, and he hasn't really faced live competition since November, since he tore that ACL. And that was a game where he did not look good, and he looked extremely uncomfortable. So I'm not sitting here saying Daniel Jones is a terrible quarterback, but the standard
has to be higher.
This needs to be rock bottom for Daniel Jones this summer. This first week, how he's missed guys that I've never seen him miss guys like this before. This needs to be rock bottom for him.
Absolutely. Other things offensively, we saw, this was the first time, like we said, they pushed out a lot of 10 personnel, right? A noticeable amount. And again, they could lead the league. And, I always remember when the Giants hired Brian Dable, it's like, Bills led the NFL in 10 personnel. The Giants ran 10 personnel over the last 2 years. But in like 2 years, it was like 180 plays. So, essentially 5 plays per game. But that does matter with the personnel, and they did that a lot. And the defense actually matched it with a lot of dime packages where they would put Andrew Phillips out there with the rest of the DBs.
And Nick McLeod, there's like 1 or 2 plays where Nick McLeod was lining up at a 2-point stance next to Bobby Okereke.
Yeah, we'll talk about the defense in a second, but they were getting at it today. Now they gave up some should be big plays, but they were getting at it today.
And another thing personnel-wise, because I wanted to talk about it on the pod at the end, but I just didn't get to it, where with the 10 personnel, this is the second time in training camp where they've run 10 personnel, and then the next play, snap your finger, they put 13 personnel out there. So you can't get more different than putting 4 wide receivers out in the field and then taking 3 of them off and then putting 3 tight ends out on the field too. So it gets me excited because, I've seen data. I like the data of, if you run, multiple, I think it's around 3, 4, or 5 different personnel groupings in a given game, it increases your likelihood of winning. You're giving defenses different looks. And if this team can lead into having that range of 10 personnel, 11, 12, 13, that could be pretty awesome for the things that they can give a defense and the looks that they can give a defense.
Yeah, it's hard to match up to that week to week. So again, the 10 personnel stuff, I keep track of who catches passes from Daniel Jones, and they were in a lot of 10 personnel, rotating a good bit. Guess who had the most catches today?
I'm gonna say Neighbors.
Darius Slayton.
Oh, wow.
Continues to do. Now Malik Neighbors had three catches. Slayton had 4. But again, today should have been it. But it's just so easy to tell. It's almost like, because it's like expected, it's not as exciting. But Malik Neighbors is just really freaking good, right? He got a couple of passes in the short area of the field, had the deep pass, should have had another deep pass. He's just someone who can kill it on all 3 levels.
2 touchdowns in his hands that, like you said, it was a bad throw, but also maybe Neighbors had hands on it, maybe should have caught it. So it's 2 touchdowns now that kind of are off the board that could be on Malik Neighbors' box score this camp.
Yeah, well, the first one was
a drop.
Was a drop.
Was a drop.
The one today was because of the throw.
Yep.
So there was that other offensive notes I had. Tyrone Tracy, right? Really starting to pop as a receiver.
2 days in a row.
Like, he's clearly the best receiving back, unless you want to go to this guy who was a fan favorite, right? Dante Turbo Miller, right? The guy from South Carolina who had, has like 3 carries over the last 2 seasons of his career. Was at Columbia before that. One, he's fast as shit. We already knew that. But he had 2 like legit receiving touchdowns today, right? One was when the defense kind of got in this blitz look. Javarius Owens was over the edge, and they blitzed. And Owens blitzed because he thinks Dante Miller is going to block, but Miller just goes out into the flats. DeVito pops it out to him, and it would have been a touchdown. And then Drew Lock on probably the throw of camp, like a 50 to 60-yard wheel route to a running back, to a short running back.
Which
you run
crazy.
A 50 to 60-yard wheel route, and Dante burns them and goes, pulls it in for what would be a touchdown. So I don't think it's going to be a tough battle for him to make the roster. I think he's definitely someone that keeps the practice squad, but he's someone that's going to shine in preseason.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Because he's going to be getting like the 3rd, 4th quarter running back reps, and that speed is going to pop. So I'm excited to see him. Like you mentioned with Eleanor, it was good to have him back out there.
It was unexpected.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the reporters were tweeting out, it's going to be the same story for him today.
Dable said, probably, keep him limited to individuals today.
I think he's a dude that he's taken pride in the fact that he's never missed a training camp practice.
I think he forced himself out there. So the first snap of the game, the first snap of practice in 11-on-11, he's out there. And then the second snap, Josh Azudu, first or second, and Josh Azudu runs in there.
Yeah.
And you're like, we're like, did he force his way in there? And then they kept the Azudu in.
They kept rotating in and out throughout the whole practice.
Well, towards the end, they just went Eleanor the whole time and put Azudu as
trying
the
to see if he's
tackle.
trying to see if he's comfortable.
So that was good. What other offensive notes do you have?
I'm not reading too much into tight end. I know there's some questions out there with Daniel Bellinger. There's two positions or multiple positions. We'll go through it really quick. That I'm not reading too much into who's playing right now because they're just rotating so much. It's tight end, like with the tight end 2 battle, right? Confident that Chris Manhurts is going to make the team. Like Jack Stoll,
Manhurts is making the team.
Jack Stoll is not going to come in here and steal that away from him. I don't think or maybe it's a battle between what does the coaching staff prefer, having a Lawrence Cager or Chris Manhurts with 3 tight ends, or do they want to carry 4? That will be a question.
Yeah, I think there's more likely they carry 4 than get rid of Manhurts. Manhurts practice with the first. I mean, even they rotate the tight ends like crazy.
Running back, they rotate a lot. Even though Tyrone Tracy has had the receiving plays that have stuck out. And interior defensive tackle, interior defensive lineman 2 is the other one that they just rotate so much that it's hard to get a read on who's like winning that battle.
It seems like McLeod is kind of locked in the nickel right now. Cordell Flott's locked in at cornerback 2. But like you mentioned, the tight ends. I mean, the tight ends have only caught 2 passes so far. Lawrence Cager 1 and Daniel Bellinger. So the other thing I did want to mention was Jalen Hyatt because he had his second catch of camp and team drills on a slant, which was good, right? And then you said, like, I'm going to watch Hyatt on this play. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to watch Hyatt too.
Hyatt Banks.
And because he was one-on-one versus Banks. And he runs a slant, and he had a great release.
Little shimmy.
Like, he challenged vertically, got Banks' hips open, and then cut, and then just turned Banks around. And the progression wasn't to him. But if he continues to show that in practice film, that he can do stuff like that consistently, and I'm not focusing on Hyatt every play, so I couldn't tell you if he's doing that. But if they're going back and watching the practice tape, and he's a guy who's winning quickly and he's winning at the release, that's how he's going to get himself more involved in this offense and become part of the natural progressions and not just someone you're throwing the ball down the field, deep down the field to.
Right. I want to have a Deontay Banks discussion too because that also pertains to him at the release and losing that.
I mean, I think I don't have any other offensive notes, I don't believe.
Yeah.
Besides the fact that we sat with the DeVitos today.
Yeah. They sat by us. We didn't sit by them.
They got aura.
They got aura.
I hate the word aura, but they got aura.
See, Tommy DeVito's father's got that little ponytail.
It's a rat tail.
Coming behind him. Yeah, he's rocking it, man. The mom was really nice to some kids. Where there was a Tommy DeVito kid wearing a jersey, and she gave him the buttons. I really wanted a Tommy DeVito button.
I thought about asking for a button, but
yeah.
I thought it might have been awkward if she didn't get the joke originally. So I didn't do it.
Little awkward. Dennis Houston.
Yeah, Dennis Houston, right? There you go. Like a second team, third team receiver who's like been consistently doing pretty good, right? Had a nice catch yesterday from DeVito, had the touchdown from Locke. Today, really nice, DeVito RPO glance, bam, gets it onto him. There was another play where I watched him where he ran a nice choice route and got a catch. So, again, not a guy that I think's making the roster, was brought over to the practice squad from Dallas last year, but someone that's making the most out of his opportunity, Justin. But who was this brought to us by?
I'm pretty sure this guy, Big Jones Energy, was the same guy that I responded to about this Jones comment.
Someone
and I literally just said interior defensive lineman 2 is a rotation. So I don't know if you're actually listening. I'm mad. Sorry about that.
You said linebacker 2.
No, he was also asked about defense tackle 2.
Linebacker 2, Deontay Johnson was practicing with the third team, like, oh, maybe this is over. And then at the end of practice, he started getting reps with the first team, which is weird to go from practicing only with the first team to third string the next day. But
Deontay Johnson agenda is still...
It's still alive. It may not be thriving, but it is alive.
Still alive. And oh boy, you see it on the table, you see it above you, and bam, you see it right there. This live stream and our summer series, our summer camp series, is brought to you by Captain Morgan, the official spiced rum of the NFL. Can you roll your tongue?
Rum.
Please comment your favorite captain and or pirate and
Garro.
Guess what? We have Captain Morgan at our tailgates. First shot usually happens at 9:30 a.m.
Capitan.
And nothing changes about our L16 tailgates. And with the NFL season right upon us, you need the right players in the right spots, and you need them in the game. Sometimes you need to spice things up. Hey, like that Brian Dable play call today, where Daniel Jones was rolling to his right, throws it to his left, Malik Neighbors is
roll
open.
Roll your R's and roll out.
You gotta spice things up, and that's why when it gets bland, I want you to integrate.
I thought that was the glass bottle for a second.
Captain Morgan. No, this is glass. What are you talking about? Oh, shit. Integrate Captain Morgan into your game day routine by visiting CaptainMorgan.com to find Captain near you. Please drink responsibly. Captain Morgan, Original Spice Rum, 35% alcohol by volume. Captain Morgan Rum Company in New York, New York. You'll be glad you did.
You'll be glad. I'm not going to mention any other liquor brand names in this ad, but
Please don't.
someone that I love, Dougie Fresh, said one that has the initials of SJ, and you're out of your damn mind.
Get out.
That's insane.
May ban you.
Some of my worst days of my life were off of the SJ. So defensively, aggressive today, right? Matching the 10 personnel with the dime stuff. That was obviously some pre-planned stuff between Dable and Bowen pre-practice. They were blitzing and they were aggressive today, right? Now it left them hanging on the back end a few times, right? Like we mentioned that Wandale wide ass open miss by DJ. What was on it was like that short motion. And usually when you run that short motion, you're kind of like trying to do double slants and find that window over the middle. And I couldn't see it, but it looked like Wandale hit him with a little double move. I don't even remember what corner it was, and just burnt him, right? So like I want to see that integrated a little more. I'm talking about the offense. But with the defense, like you can't let that type of shit happen. And that's the worry with this defense right now. Is the secondary, right? We'll talk about the Giants throwing the ball deep a lot. Well, the secondary is a huge worry, right?
Yeah.
Like Cordell Flott has not been very good. Deontay Banks has if you're going Malik Neighbors versus Deontay Banks, Malik Neighbors has been the far superior player so far in camp.
Yeah, the thing with Deontay Banks, seeing him against Hyatt with that one play. We're not watching anybody specifically for an entire practice, but seeing Hyatt go up against Banks and get him on the release, that was an issue that Deontay Banks had last year. Seeing again Malik Neighbors win at the catch point against Deontay Banks today, it just things that we're hoping that Deontay Banks gets better at, making plays on the football, then also getting better at the release. I don't doubt that Deontay Banks is fast. I don't doubt that he is sticky in coverage, but if you're going to allow these catches because you can't make a play on the football, not turning your head on a football where you could have had an interception is worse than, all right, you just allow Jalen Hyatt to get open and he wasn't targeted, or, you were, tight coverage, but Malik Neighbors makes a back shoulder grab. All right, that's going to happen in the NFL. But he could have had an interception today. Hits him almost right in the back. Daniel Jones throws it behind Malik Neighbors, and you just don't turn your head to make a play on the football.
Yeah, and that's the worry now that he's in the full-time cornerback one. You're getting wide receiver one every week, right, where he struggled in that middle part of the season when
Jefferson
Adoree' Jackson was out. Is like, we know you can hang with these dudes, but if they're in your head and they're beating you, you gotta, you can't just face guard a guy. Like, these guys know how to catch the ball even when they're covered well. So now Banks is someone who started camp out really bad last year and then got a lot better as they went along. So I think I know the iron sharpens iron shit is like a joke, and I even joked about it yesterday with a tweet. But I do think him getting to go up against Neighbors every day instead of Darius Slayton or Jalen Hyatt is really good for him. Mm-hmm. So let's sharpen that friggin' iron. So Brian Burns.
Oh,
and I'm trying to remember if it's happened in a game. On the play that DJ missed Wandale,
it didn't happen.
A lot of things happened on that play.
Yeah.
Burns smoked Andrew Thomas. I mean, just smoked him, right? Sets him outside. I hadn't seen Andrew Thomas lose like that
since 2020.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen him lose like that since his rookie season.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking in game too. I really don't think I've seen him lose like that since his rookie season. That was woo.
Yeah, you set him up nice outside and then jets right back inside.
Let's sharpen some friggin' iron. This is the camp of iron sharpening iron. And hopefully it's not Kenny Galladay versus James Bradbury or whatever shitty, iron jokes we've made. That was crazy. Kayvon did pretty well today. He had a sack on Jermaine Eleanor and a sack on Josh Azudu.
Oh, he did? He had a sack on Jermaine?
Yeah, so now it might have been a split sack because Dex blew up Jimmy Moore. I think it was Jimmy. Remember the play where DJ actually went to the ground and got pissed off?
Oh, yeah.
Was that JMS or Jimmy Morrissey where Dex got him?
Well, that was the first play of the last series of practice.
So it was Jimmy
Morrissey.
It was Jimmy Morrissey.
Which that's something, too.
But Kayvon, totally beat Jermaine Eleanor on that. It wasn't like some clean win, but got to his shoulder push and got to what would have been either a half sack or forcing, the QB up into Dexter Lawrence. So that was good to see. But that rep on Brian Burns was just...
It was sick.
It was nasty. I posted on my Twitter if you guys want to go see it.
And then on that same play, by the way, it's on the same side because Neighbors was on the left side, and then obviously Burns and Thomas on the left side too. You had Malik Neighbors before the play. He was dancing, and he was doing something. I gotta watch a video again, but he was feeling himself. And then he has this I can't even describe the release that Malik Neighbors had on that. It was such a hesitation. And then he just snaps right into something, and I think it was Flott that was covering him, and he wound up. It would have burned him, but there was a touchdown on that play that Daniel Jones just missed, but that's okay. That was awesome. It's going to be fun to see these guys compete for the next however many days that we're here.
Yeah. So, and when they went dime, Drew Phillips got it. So the play of the day on defense though was Nick McLeod, which was the last play of the day.
He's been the best corner of camp so far.
Or not Nick McLeod, Dane Belton. So take that back.
Nick McLeod has still been the best corner in camp so far.
That's true. But Dane Belton, it's a 3rd and 2. It didn't have to be the last play of the day, but it ended up being it because it was an interception. A 3rd and 2, and I joked with you. I was like, this ball's going to Wandale. It's 3rd and 2. They're throwing a choice route to Wandale, but they throw a back shoulder to Malik Neighbors, which was covered pretty well by Deontay Banks. Maybe it's completed, but DJ gives a little bit of a hitch, and Belton is just reading his eyes.
He
and
pounces.
Undercuts it, and it was a great catch too, right? Turned his body, reached up, and made the play. Right, and we've talked about Dane Belton before, where it's he gets all these interceptions, but it's tell me the one that was really impressive and not just that
was impressive
overthrown pass. That was really really impressive by Belton.
Yep.
So it was good to see the first team defense get their first interception of camp this year. Newman out. He did some stuff with individual drills, but I really want to see him get out there as much as I just hyped up a Dane Belton play.
Evan Neal, the only player on PUP that we just didn't see today.
Yeah, that's not good. Javarius Owens got moved up to the second team like we asked for.
Más o menos.
He had a sack, but he did have 2 bad plays. The Dante Miller, blitz thing, that was on him, and this was the hurtful one. Is Jack Stahl just beat him on a corner route, and I don't like seeing that.
You don't let Jack Stahl beat you now.
So we'll move on quickly from that because of my agenda.
We're gonna because of our agenda. He's fast.
Isaiah Simmons had a sack on a nickel blitz. So he's not really getting any first team reps, but that was good.
He in that dime package though, he's on the line of scrimmage.
Oh yeah, and again, that's the thing with Simmons is he's okay. He's a nickel.
So
corner.
he's getting some first team reps.
That could have been a 3rd down money backer thing too, because that's something Bowen said in Hard Knocks.
I don't feel like Isaiah Simmons is being shooed away from the vision of the defense. It's certainly a unique role, but I don't feel like he's being outcasted right now. And something that we did see from Shane Bowen today, I think we saw it a little bit through the first 2 days when they were running red zone, but he kind of turned it up. They were aggressive and they brought pressure today from different varying spots, and it wasn't just the nickel corner like we were used to.
Yeah, oh yeah, they were lining up in cover 0 looks. They were sometimes just running cover 0, so
dropping guys back. There was a play where Javarius Owens was up on the line of scrimmage, outside of the end. He drops back, and then a safety that was lined up deeper, he comes in through the middle. So they're gonna disguise stuff, and it's gonna be fun.
And again, there's different days for different things,
Yep.
right? So it doesn't mean that Shane Bowen's totally bucked his trend, but it is noticeable. Smoke Green asked Trey Hawkins info. He's not doing what he did last year.
No,
last year
he
was dominant in camp, and this year he's been pretty bad. He gave the touch on the Neighbors yesterday. Got beaten one-on-ones a couple times. Today, Miles Boykin beat him on a deep pass. You didn't know Miles Boykin was on the roster. I guarantee it for 99.9% of the people listening right now. So Hawkins hasn't had the same camp he had last year. I mean, I think I'm set with my notes.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the Hawkins cook by Miles Boykin was my last note.
Yeah, Ryder Anderson getting some first team. Again, the interior defensive lineman rotation is a lot of guys right now.
Yeah.
And I just like saying, I've said Ryder Anderson's name 2 days out of 3. I had 2 hot dogs this morning with both of them had onions on them.
Attaboy. All right, we will see you guys on Sunday. Make sure to check out the pod we had today with Jordan Renan, recapping the first 2 days. Appreciate you guys very much. Enjoy your weekend. See you Sunday. Thank you, Captain Morgan. Until then, let's go Big Blue. Don't press the button.
Like and subscribe.
We got to start asking you guys to do
like
that.
And subscribe. Like and subscribe. More people like this, the more people will see it, and the more people that subscribe, the more people that will see it. Thank you. See you
just
Sunday.
Do that, Step.
Off day tomorrow.
Wait to end it. Let's go Big Blue.